And we want to say good evening to everybody. I know it's been a while, but we're glad to be back on the air. This is our live edition of the NBA Finals Postgame Show. Game 1 is in the books of the 2024 Finals. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk. I am, of course, Ed, along with my co-host, Jesus. Partner, how's it going?
What's up, brother? Good. Let's get it. Another day, another podcast. How about yourself? How you doing?
Just another day. Got hit with the fever. We were supposed to be in studio today, but it's the last day of the semester, so we're doing the show remotely, and we're glad that we're live. Big night tonight for the NBA. We're going to get to it right now. So game one's in the books. Celtics dominated Dallas. Were you surprised at the outcome of the game?
I can't say surprised because we mentioned the last episode about who's gonna have the advantage. Boston, who defeated Pacers in 4 games, or Dallas, who went through 7-game series, and it seemed like Boston was the one that ended up playing more physical. That home crowd was wild. That first quarter started off back and forth until Porzingis came in and did the work. Well, how about yourself? Did you expect this? Because it would have went either way, but Boston had everything going their way.
From the get-go, they were up and winning. They were doing well. How surprised were you that they got off to that big start really quick?
The surprise was once Porzingis came in, this guy missed more than 30 days, and he came in hot. In the first 4 minutes of the game when he came in, he already had 8 points, 2 rebounds, and pretty much blocking left and right. He went off in the first quarter, but you can't forget about their other starting unit, who everybody contributed, everybody made their shots, they locked down the Dallas Mavericks defense pretty solid very early in the game, which pretty much set the tone for the rest of the game, in which they got the victory.
Well, my my surprise is that even though Boston went up as high as 29, they had like a 29-point lead. I was very surprised in the second half that Dallas came back and they just started playing ball, and I believe with about 3 minutes left of that third quarter, they got within single digits. They got within 9, but they just couldn't really get that close, because the minute they got that close, that's when Boston started like upping their game, and they just ran away with it to the point where they got up to 25, I believe, and they just couldn't come back after that. I mean, how resilient does it show that no matter how good Dallas plays, Boston's gonna edge them out?
And I think the home advantage helped the Boston. They're they're like I mentioned, they're wild, and that coach, the Boston coach, he's 5-0 versus Dallas Mavericks this season. Seems like he has a great game plan every time he plays the Mavericks. And like you mentioned, they cut down the lead all the way to 9 points in the third quarter, which it was gonna look like a great comeback by the Dallas Mavericks, but they just couldn't put it away in the fourth quarter. And Kyrie had a terrible game as well. Luka was the one who went off, in which they started to come back little by little, but unfortunately they didn't. And I think I'm not sure when's game 2, but I think I could see a comeback from Dallas.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be hard to come back, because I mean, let's face it, Boston jumped out quick, because at the end of one, they were up by 17. and they went up as high as 29. And then uh, Luka Doncic, look, he helped get the team closer. But like I said, when they got within 9, they just couldn't get closer because after getting within 9, Boston went on an 11-0 scoring run to pretty much seal it. I mean, I think they tried to get closer, but they just couldn't get close enough. So, I mean, going into game 2, I mean, what does Boston, or actually, what does Dallas need to do to to stay with these guys? Because from the way it looks, they're just gonna have to make every shot to stay within range of this team.
There's an insane stat line that came out just now that the Celtics had as many blocks as the Mavs had assists in game 1. So the Mavs pretty much only had 9 assists the whole game, and Boston Celtics had a high of 9 blocks. That's pretty insane. That tells you how physical Boston was in protecting that rim. That's crazy.
Here's another stat for you. So Boston is the first team in the NBA Finals history that got multiple players that made like 3-pointers, like 7 3-pointers, I believe. Like they had 7 players that make multiple 3-pointers, and like not just one, but more than that. So, I mean, how does it show that they got a deadly offense, the Boston Celtics? I mean, it's not a coincidence that they were the number 1 seed. It's not a coincidence that they stormed down the playoffs. Most say that they had an easy run at it. I mean, this team won 64 games, They could have won 72 or more than that, but they won 64. They've been consistent all season. I mean, even with injuries, they still play well. I mean, Jaylen Brown, he proved it well. He's the leading scorer for Boston. He had 22 points. Even Luka led with 30, but unfortunately that was not enough. So let's talk about Dallas really quick. You saw Luka put up the numbers. Does this have to be like a Kobe Bryant performance that he has to score more than that? Does he have to put up 40 points? Does he have to put up 50 points? If no one else, because it looks like Kyrie Irving had a bad night. So if he doesn't get a support, is he going to have to take over the whole game?
Yeah, for sure. If he doesn't get the support, I think he's gonna have to average at least 40 points a game. Luka Doncic, Kyrie just had a horrible game. It seems like he's just very off when he plays his former teammates. Cause Kyrie Irving is 0-11 in his last 11 games against the Celtics, so he has to break that curse. And you got to give props to Luka Doncic, who got a triple double. He was sorry about that. He was the first player to get a double-double with 30-point in the finals since Tim Duncan days. So you got to give him props, but he needs that help for sure from everybody, not just Kyrie. He needs more points from PJ Washington and the bigs. The bigs were dominated by Porzingis, man, the unicorn. I think he's 7'2", 7'3". He makes threes, he does dunks, he shoots over people. Damn, he went off, and that was against his former teammate and team Dallas Mavericks.
Let's talk about the Dallas Big Three. So Luka led with 30 points, played 38 minutes. Irving played 37 minutes. He only got 12 points. He was 0 for 5 from 3-point range. And then you look at PJ Washington. He played 36 minutes. He was 5 for 11 from the field with 14 points. He was 0 for 3 from 3-point range. And then you look at the bench. The bench only scored 20 points tonight. That's not going to cut it. I'm going to tell you that right now. That is not going to cut it because that's a lot of missed shots, a lot of supporting cast not stepping up. I mean, I'm going to have to go back to my question. He is going to have to take over if Dallas is going to even try to win this. Because you look at these stats, you compare it to the other series matchups they had. and it's different. Is it the team? Is it the home court advantage? Or was this team just flat out nervous to show up tonight? What do you think?
A little bit of everything, and I forgot to mention the NBA gave respects to Bill Watson and his family, who was in attendance, in which I think that gave Boston even an extra boost to even get that victory as well. So I forgot to mention that in starting of this talk about this, but yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of everything. Like you mentioned, PJ Washington had 14 points, but most of the points were by free throws, so there's no buckets falling in for the 3 points. Besides Lucas scoring and assisting every little play, and that bench points has to step it up. Boston's pretty solid from head to toe, from their starting lineup to their bench. They have contributors. So as of game one that just happened, and if this keeps going, I could see Boston taking this series to 5 games most. But this Dallas Mavericks team is pretty good. Can't forget their head coach Jason Kidd, you know, and their superstars, and pretty much everybody stepped it up.
So about a half hour ago, Luka Doncic had a press conference with the media. We're going to play a little bit of what he had said. This is after the game one loss to the Celtics. Let's take a listen.
They mostly play one-on-one. They send a lot of help, so that's why. Luka, you've obviously been here before, down 0-1 in a series. What do you remember about, the first round and the second round, what the next day was like for you guys? What did it look like? What did it feel like? I don't remember. Just you lose or you win. First to four, we got to focus on the next game. Does that give you guys confidence, though? Of course. If you want to say we have no confidence. I just want to hear you say it. It's good for our stories. Of course. Luka, obviously, Kristaps had a really big first half. Just from what you remember playing with him, why was he so impactful out there, just taking advantage of pretty much every matchup he had? Yeah, he was great for them. He was knocking out shots. He was blocking shots. So it was really, really huge for them on both ends of the floor. Spencer right in the front. What kind of problems does the Celtics 5-out offense present for you guys on defense? Their spacing is great, and they have a lot of shooters. So I think we got to do a better job taking those three away. Looking for you guys as a team defensively, what needs to change? I mean, you guys have been so good throughout these playoffs. What was different tonight? What did they do to get you guys off your front foot? Just like I said right now, we got to take those threes away. That was hurts us the most.
And that was Luka from the Dallas Mavericks. I gotta say, he sounds really frustrated because, I mean, with the stats that he put up tonight compared to his teammates and the support he had, sounds very, very disappointing as far as answering these questions.
Yeah, that's Luka. He has that little, he has that fire in him. But well, during the game, there's a lot of like miscommunication that I've been seeing, and a lot of turnovers that Kyrie and Derek Jones Jr. and Derek Lively, they were all trying to like communicate with each other, but it seemed like it wasn't working. That's why Luka just started to take over during that third quarter. But I like the other thing. They asked him about how to stop Boston, and he answered the spacing, because Boston has great spacing. Everybody pretty much can make a three in that team in the starting lineup, and they did a great job today spacing and making those threes in which Boston made. But yeah, I think Luka's gonna come back and drop 40 points next game. What you think about that?
Well, I'll say this: he sounded frustrated because he did play his ass off. I just think that if he can get the support, then this would have been a different outcome. I mean, let's face it, you can't fall behind 17 points, especially in a hostile like Boston. Just ask the Lakers from 2008. They learned that the hard way. And then the one thing that intrigued me on this one is that you look at the Dallas Mavericks every series matchup since this playoffs began. Every round they played, they lost the first game, but they were able to come back and win the next game and then start to get a bit of momentum. He doesn't really, it sounds like he doesn't really believe in rhythm or luck. I mean, it's true what he said. He said, you win first to four wins, and yeah, you're right, but still, if you're playing on the road, you gotta at least steal the home court advantage. Otherwise, this is gonna be in for the long run, and it's gonna be a nightmare. So, I mean, I'll take that point from him. I think he is frustrated, because he didn't get much supporting cast. And I mean, look, even if he does take over, will it be enough? And like you said, Boston, they got 3-point shooters everywhere. Even guys from the stands can go in and play 2 minutes of relief. Maybe they'll make a couple threes. So, I mean, it's just, they just going to have to protect that 3-point line more, challenge them to get in the box, get in the post up, try to earn their points from the post line, because they leave those threes open like they did tonight, where multiple players made threes. This is not going to be a long series. This might be a sweep. So, I'll take that into consideration. But let's talk about Jason Tatum, who led the game with 22 with Boston. After the game, he spoke with ESPN's Lisa Salter. This was after the game. Let's take a listen.
Really regained control of the game late in that third quarter with your defense. Just what did you start doing differently on the defense end?
I say it all the time. It's a game of love. This is the NBA Finals. They're not going to do it really easy. We just got to respond. We did a really good job of that.
Luka got his, but no one else really did, and he had just one assist, wasn't really able to facilitate. What were you guys doing defensively just to kind of limit his game?
Obviously somebody like that's going to score and get his points out. Our job is to try to limit the other guys as much as we possibly can.
You've talked about how your game has grown, how you don't have to be consumed with scoring to dominate a game. You finished with 16 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. What are you most proud of about your personal performance?
That we won. I had way too many turnovers. I got to be a lot better, but we took care of the job tonight, get some rest, watch film, and see what we can do better for game two.
And how about Kristaps Porzingis? What impressed you most about his return tonight?
Just how seamless it is. The transition is to come back. I'm glad he's back.
Congrats on the win. Thank you.
And that was ESPN's Lisa Salters, who interviewed Jason Tatum after the game. I know some of you couldn't hear that, so we apologize. It was the audio. He was outside, the arena, so there was still a loud crowd. But he basically just said that, it was the runs really mattered, because even though Luka had a monster game, they felt that, he needed help. He didn't get it, and they just played their game. And, he also mentioned that, he has to stay on top, because you cannot give the Mavericks a shot. They learned that the hard way when they brought that big lead down to 9 points. So anything can happen. So what's your take on Jason's performance tonight?
I think it was great. Like he mentioned, the only thing, he had too many turnovers, which was 6. He only had 16 points. He normally averages about 30, but that's okay, because look at his stat line. He had 5 assists, 11 key rebounds, 2 key offensive rebounds, and he pretty much played the whole game, 42 minutes. So he always contributes no matter what. Each and every game, he's the superstar of that team, so he has to contribute no matter what. And he did, his stat line was pretty great, besides those 6 turnovers, like we both mentioned twice again. But, besides that, Tatum, phenomenal.
He also mentioned about about his game one win, and also mentioned Kristaps. You know that?
Yeah, pretty much Porzingis. Like I mentioned, they used to be teammates, so it was pretty much a revenge game by Kristaps Porzingis. I'm not sure if you remember him when they were teammates when he was playing with Dallas Mavericks, like 1 season, 2 seasons ago before he got traded.
Yeah, and he was out for a month due to injury. We do have a small clip of him, partner. He did speak to the media after the first game, and basically the first question straight out was, about they asked him how he felt after being off for about a month. Let's take a listen.
Kristaps, you're right. Against Good Will Yahoo Sports. I know you had a month off and you probably weren't sure how effective you were going to be, but did you surprise yourself? Was tonight a lot of adrenaline, a lot of passion? How did you evaluate your performance tonight?
Yeah, I think obviously what helped me was just even from the walkout before the game and then getting on the court, getting that kind of support was, it's unreal. The adrenaline was pumping through my veins, and that definitely helped. Obviously, it wasn't ideal that I was out for such a long time, but I did everything I could to prepare mentally for this moment coming back, and it paid off, and we got the job done tonight and had a good game and happy about the result. Dave over here on the left.
Kristaps, what do you think of the assignment to come off the bench, I think, just for the second time of your career, and how did you find a comfort zone basically from the minute you stepped on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, from day one, I came here and I said, I'll do whatever it takes to help this team win, right? And I think it was this situation, it made sense. And I didn't care. I knew I could prepare to come off the bench, which is something different for me. And that's what I did. I stepped into that role and embraced it and had a good game. Adam over here on the left side, standing.
Kristaps, the other day, when you were asked, are you 100%? You kind of had this, long pause before you answered and got a lot of people nervous, wondering what did that mean? Where were you at? Were you just messing with us? What was kind of the process, getting through that to this time now?
Yeah, no, it's hard to say because, all these thoughts, went through my mind in that moment. What do I answer? I don't want to, I want to say I'm fine, but obviously I haven't played. I haven't been out there. I haven't had the feel of am I 100%, so, but tonight was a affirmation to myself, that I'm pretty good, maybe I'm not perfect, but I'm pretty good and I can play like this and I can definitely add, to this team.
During your first press conference with the Celtics, you were asked if you would be ready for the challenge of the playoffs. And you said, I don't know. What has gone into preparing yourself for this stage over the years and over this season to kind of be ready for this? And not just that, but to get dropped into it after an injury.
What was the question?
What has prepared you to be ready for this stage, which you haven't been on? Haven't been out of the first round.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, it's it's just basketball, it's okay. It's higher intensity. It's more, intricacies of the game and stuff, more focus on little details, but at the end it's just basketball and I've been doing this for a long time, and even if I have time off, I can jump right back in and I feel the same way. And I get to my spots and I do so. Whether it's playoffs, regular season, or whatever, it's I know how to do this, and that's it. Just having that confidence going out there, whatever, first round or finals, just going out there with full confidence and giving what I can to the team.
I can't even tell if he was saying how he felt about coming back or he was giving a narrative of his life. I mean, what did you think about that conference?
Yeah, some tough questions, some weird tough questions. But he was giving his the full detail. It was big. Nobody pretty much thought of that. That the first game back, he was gonna come back and do that. The first half, he was dominant. I was gonna mention in the beginning, before the game started, he wasn't a starting lineup. Then about 5-10 minutes later, they switched the starting lineup in which he was the bench. And that's what he said. No matter what, he was ready, bench starter, no matter what. And that's what he did. He came off that bench and contributed big against his former team. And the Porzingis is a beast. I've been following his game for years, even in the FIBA World Cup for basketball for Lithuania. I think their team pretty much beat the USA team, and he was the coach. So I give him props. He's gonna dominate. He's gonna do him. It was just great answering by him, but a little bit detailed about his life as well. He's a humble guy.
But how fitting is it, to play your former team, one, and then two, you put up that type of, performance, and then three, he's never been really benched in his career, only twice now. This is the second time he's had to come off the bench. I mean, it sounds like he's really adjusted, but what a better way to make the appearance, against your former team. And I just have one word: championship.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it too, championship, and I couldn't. Just take it, partner. I lost what I was gonna say. Sorry about that.
I mean, maybe you should listen to his conference to get some better answers, man, because he pretty much was open-minded and open to pretty much anything. I mean, that's how I see it.
Yeah, besides those questions, he showed out. Gotta give him props. And he has history of his injury, so it's pretty scary to bring him back. Well, the first game and have him play 20 minutes is pretty tough, but it seems like he wasn't 100%, like they mentioned on the question, but he didn't really say it like that. He said it more in a humbled way. But I got Dallas coming back tough for game 2, which will be on Sunday, once again on ABC.
The NBA Finals is on ABC and YouTube TV, but Sports Talk will be your home for the post-game show. Following every matchup, you can join us live here on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We are going to be providing you a recap of the finals. Again, Dallas lost. Boston takes the first one tonight in dramatic fashion, blowout fashion, any type of butt kicking, any other sentence you want to fill in. That's what happened tonight with the Boston Celtics. They take game 1 of this 2024 NBA Finals. And you mentioned Dallas, that might come back strong on Sunday. A while ago, Jason Kidd, the coach of the Mavericks, who actually won a title with the Mavericks in 2011, been on the side of this one before, twice with the New Jersey Nets. He spoke to the media, so we're gonna play you a small clip of that post-game reaction after losing tonight to the Celtics.
And Jason, only 9 assists for you guys, just 1 for Luka. Obviously, those are pretty alarmingly low totals. With the way the Celtics play defensively, how can you guys get the ball moving and create better opportunities?
Yeah, I thought give the Celtics credit. They did a great job tonight defending, making it tough on us. We had some good looks that didn't go down. We got to move the ball. If the ball just stuck too much, and we'll be better in game 2.
Mike Curtis here in the front.
Mike Curtis, Dallas Morning News. Jason, Luka said that they were guarding a lot of one-on-one action. Just with Kyrie and just the way he struggled offensively, did you like the looks he was getting, or just, I guess, how were they playing him?
Yeah, I thought he had great looks. That just didn't go down. He had some great looks at 3. He had some great looks in the paint. That's just part of basketball. Sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't. Tonight they just didn't go down for Kai or most of the team. And hopefully we get those same shots in game 2 and we can be better.
Dwayne Price here in the second row.
Dwayne Price, Math.com. Jason, the game started to turn a little bit when Porzingis came in. What was he doing out there to be so effective tonight?
Yeah, KP was great. He knocked down shots. He changed shots. He blocked shots. He gave them a spark when he came off the bench. We just got to make it a little bit tougher. On the offensive end, we got to make him do something different. He got great looks and knocked them down.
Here in the front, Mike Leslie, WFA. Jason, you guys did make that run there early in the third quarter, cut the lead down to 8, seemed to develop some momentum. What of that is replicable? What can you take away from that stretch to try and recreate that in game 2 and going beyond there?
Yeah, we did cut it to 8 and got the rebound. Unfortunately, came up with a travel. A lot of good things in that third and fourth that we can build on. That's what we talked about after the game, and that's what we have to do. We came out and won the third. Had a great opportunity to cut into that lead. Unfortunately, they go on a run once we cut it to 8. But then, we won the fourth, so there are 2 positive things that we can take from this 4 quarters. We got to be better in the first, so they took advantage of that. They knocked down threes. But, the big thing is we have to be better as a team, offensively and defensively.
Not to focus on travel, but the youth on the roster, how did you feel like you guys, the guys who hadn't been at this stage, how do you feel like they handled the moment?
They did great. And they'll get better as the series goes on.
Well, for someone that got beat very badly tonight, shows how much belief he has in his team. And, I do think that they tend to play better in game 2. So let me ask you, partner, what was your reaction to Jason Kidd?
Professional-wise answers, like always. I always like Jason Kidd as a player and as a coach. So nothing much. His great answers, like always. The media questioned him first about the assist, which is a big key, especially for a finals game. That tells you that they didn't move the ball much. 9 assists. It's insane. So they got to do better on that. As well with Porzingis, fix their more physical, show them different ways how to attack and score the bucket. He's a great coach, man. They're going to adjust everything for game 2. They have 3 days, probably 1 day, 2 days tops of practice and film session to see what they got to do and adjust. They'll be all right. Love that coach. Do you approve of his answers?
He was honest, open-minded. Shows that he knows what happened. He knows what he's got to do. They'll just have to perform better. So we heard from the losing coach. How does the winning coach, Joe Mazzulla from the Celtics, feel about tonight's victory? So let's take a listen and see what he had to say.
Game plan, fighting for a spot in the offensive end, being physical, and making plays on both ends of the floor. So I thought he played great, and that's the KP that helped us get to where we are today.
We can see from Jason and the pressure he kind of drew defensively, how he played around that.
Yeah, just poise. They have a great defensive system, great defensive team, throw a bunch of stuff at you. Different spacings, different coverages, and the poise to just figure it out, make the right play is going to be the most important thing. I thought he had that throughout the game. Dave over here on the left side.
Mavs were able to cut it to 8 in the third quarter. You guys respond with a 14-0 run, and Kristaps is making plays during that run as well. Just how big was that moment, and for him to continue his impact after that hot start?
Yeah, game management's going to be important. This is a great team. They have a tendency to go on great runs, and that's going to happen. And so you have to be able to manage those with poise and execution, know why those runs are being made, and quickly put a stop to them with high-level execution. So KP was a huge part of that run. But I liked the way we handled their run, because that's going to happen. You're not going to stop that.
Just have to have the poise and the toughness to work through it. I thought our guys did that.
Jake, fifth row towards the center.
Joe, Jalen was your leading scorer tonight, but defensively, 3 blocks, guarding Luka in space. What can you say about his effort on that side of the ball?
Yeah, that what you saw tonight is kind of the challenge he took for himself coming into the year. Not wanting to be defined by one thing, wanting to make plays, wanting to be a well-rounded player and get better and better. So his spacing, his ball movement, defense on ball and off ball. Usually when you give up a run and your offense gets a little stagnant, your defense goes with it. And tonight our defense kept us in it. And that's really important, is to have that defensive mindset. And some of those plays that Jalen made were a part of that.
Second row on your left.
So Shane on Forbes, you mentioned the ball movement. Just kind of curious what you've seen in terms of when Jason or Jalen draw to the ability to kick out and get the machine moving.
Yeah, I think a couple of great passes. JT stuck out. The one Jalen threw down on the corner. I think it was either Jalen or JT, but that's what those guys do. They have the ability to draw 2 guys, and the most important thing is making the right play over and over again, doing what's best for the team, reading the 2-on-1s. And when they're at their best, those guys are able to do that. And, I thought their decision-making helped control the game, especially when they went on that run, and we were able to get that back. We went back to, with JT there, and he was able to help us sustain that with high-level execution. So it's really important when those guys do that.
Third row on your left.
Joe, when did you make the decision to bring Kristaps off the bench, and did you have to have a conversation with him about that, and how did that go?
Yeah, I always talk to the players about what we think is best for the team, and, that's that. I don't know. I can't remember.
Front row.
Back to the timeout. What did you say? What did you see when they came off the court? Can you sort of take us back to that?
The one when they cut it to 8?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like, it's the NBA Finals. You're playing against a great team, and they're going to make runs. And so just building awareness to why the run was made. And, that team does a great job of making defensive adjustments on the fly. And sometimes it takes us a possession or 2 to recognize that. And so just understanding the run, what can we do to change it? And, how can we just get better coming out of that? So I thought the guys' poise out of that timeout was big, and that's going to happen. They're going to go on more runs, and we're going to have to fight through them.
Timeout ends, they go back out to the court. Before you go on that run, did you feel at that moment when the timeout ended that your message been received?
Yeah.
Over here on the left, second row.
Joe, a couple things you're pretty consistent on your physicality and also details. What did you see in Game 1 in that regard, on both sides of the basketball, particularly with their physicality, meeting their physicality?
Yeah, again, I thought our defensive mindset, our defensive execution, our defensive game plan, our positioning, we had the right intentions. And I thought we played really physical for the most part, defender without foul. And, on the offensive end, we made some physical drives. And so that's the key there, is just having the physical mindset on both ends of the floor.
That was Joe Masula with the Boston Celtics. Obviously, not a lot of mistakes made on their side, but I guess the only mistake that he noticed more was when that 29-point lead went down to about 8 points in the second half. Boston went on a 14-0 run to kind of run away with it. Dallas never recovered. So partners are concerned about possible small collapse in that 29-point lead, kind of like what Dallas observed in the first game against the Clippers in their matchup.
Not really. That has been happening a lot during this playoffs and during the last couple of seasons in the NBA. A lot of, for an example, I'm pretty sure a lot of people turn off or change the game at halftime because Boston were up by 20 or 30. Then most of them turn their TV on because Dallas cut the lead back to 10, which happens a lot lately. So I'm not really surprised about that. It's NBA playoffs. You gotta go all out to those 48, pretty much the whole full 48 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a funny story. So when the Lakers was in the finals in 08, they were playing Boston. We know that 20-point lead they had. I turned it off. I went to get something to eat, get some burgers and fries and some shakes. By the time I came back, it was a game. I was like, well, what the hell happened? And lo and behold, the Lakers lose that game and went on to lose the series because that game really decimated them. I know this is the first game, but if Boston closes this game out fast, let's say they close this series fast, will this first game be the reason that they won the championship?
Nope, not at all. Because like you mentioned earlier, Dallas always loses their game ones, which they're always away, but they come back and it pretty much sparks them up. Losing game one, it gives them a boost of confidence of some sort, and they come out and end up doing better.
Well, it may be different now because this is a different series. Fortunately, apparently, it's a different team. So, I mean, we just have to wait to see how that goes. But here's the thing: we know Kyrie Irving struggled tonight. He had a chance to speak to the media. Let's take a listen to what he had to say about tonight.
We'll start with Dorothy here on the right.
Hi, Kyrie. Dorothy Gentry. I'm Messenger Media from Dallas, Texas. Kyrie, share with us what you're feeling right now, just your thoughts mentally. How do you get yourself geared up for game two?
Just grateful for the experience to get through game one. Just a lot of emotions going into it, and just waiting for the opportunity to get out there and compete. Going against a great Celtics team. So we just had to get this one out the way, and we didn't perform the way we would have wanted to tonight. It starts with me just being able to get out there and get us settled. I got to take some accountability for just the communication and just going out there and getting used to the way that the kind of environment was going to be. But I think my teammates did a great job of staying together, sticking to the game plan. We obviously made some mistakes, like I said, but we gave ourselves a chance in the second half, and we just got to continue to do the right things and win the quarters as much as we can. They came out and hit us in the mouth early, got the home crowd going into it, down 17 in the first quarter. It's not really like us to give up 37 points. It's happened to us before in the playoffs, but we just want to make it a lot tougher on them. And they hit a lot of threes. And again, when you get them rolling like that, they play a very easy game the rest of the game. And we just got to hit them in the mouth a little bit. So they did their job getting game one, but we're going to take our lessons and get ready for a good game two.
Here in the front, Tim.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. Kyrie, obviously with you and Luka, you guys have two of the best one-on-one players in the world, but ball wasn't moving tonight. How do you avoid, with the way that the Celtics play defensively, falling into kind of the trap of relying on isolation and becoming stagnant?
I don't necessarily agree that it's a trap, that they want to set us. I think that they really rely on their great defensive ball pressure, their one-on-one defenders, and they funnel us into certain areas. I mean, even as I say that they're relying on the one-on-one, every time I got an ISO, there's, almost 2-3 people waiting for me to get in there. So I got to catch the ball on a live dribble and just be aware of my opportunities. It's uncharacteristic for us to have only 9 assists. The ball's got to move a little bit more. And again, that starts with me just being able to push the pace, get us some easy opportunities, and just adjust to what they're throwing at us. So it's a fun series. It was fun just, going into the game. It's still going to be fun, but there's going to be a level of chess that still has to be played. And, game one was just about adjustments. We obviously wanted to win this basketball game, gave ourselves a chance in the second half when we were down by 8. Then they brought it up to 16, and they got up to 22, and we called the timeout. So just going to be replaying some of these possessions, but, at the same time, look at some of the positives that we can carry on to game two.
Here in the front, Mike.
Kyrie, Mike Curtis, Dallas Morning News. You mentioned the environment. How did that either meet or kind of exceed your expectations, and how did it affect you tonight?
I mean, it's basketball at the end of the day. Being in this environment, I'm used to it at this point. Early in my career, there was a different relationship that I had with Boston, just being able to come here, be settled with a veteran group. Now I'm here as the veteran. Over the past few years, just experiencing the playoffs here, even regular season, it's been the same thing. I thought it was going to be a little ladder in here, but I'm expecting the same things going into game two. crowd trying to get me out of my element, my teammates out of my element. But again, the energy's got to be focused towards the game. I felt like I had a lot of great looks. They hit back rim or, they were just a little left or right. So I just got to stay confident and stay poised throughout this, man. This is the best time of the year to be playing. There's only 2 teams left. Let's put it in perspective, So the environment's going to be what it is, but my focus is on our game plan and making sure my guys feel confident and I feel confident and continue to shoot great shots.
Don't know if that were the right choice words about what happened tonight. He sounded like, well, I'll tell you, he sounds like he was relieved that this game's over and now you can focus on game 2. So, I mean, what did you think of how he was answering those questions?
Kyrie has a history of I can't really say the right word, but he should come back and just like Luka, bro. He's a veteran on the court, but ever since he stepped on that Boston logo, he's 0-11. So I think that just gave him the curse. He stepped on the Boston logo back when he was playing with the Nets versus Boston. You can't really. It's a tough one. I can't really put his words into. But yeah, I'll just go with the Kyrie.
He's looking forward to game 2, so, I mean, you think that he'll have a better, excuse me, think he'll have a better opportunity to rebound, or is the worst yet to come?
Like you mentioned, he just has to stay focused, stay tuned. No matter what, that crowd's gonna go crazy against him. So he should come back and start knocking for sure threes the next game, or at least contribute more on the assist and rebound side like he normally does during his playoff run. So I feel like there's no need to worry. Still game 1, but there's still a lot to go. A game left.
107 to 89, so an 18-point victory by the Celtics tonight as we running low here on time on Sports Talk. Just go over the final stats real quick of tonight's game. Field goal percentage was 47 to 41 in Boston's favor. 3-point field goal, 38% to 25% in Boston's favor. Free throws, that was kind of almost equal, 68 to 63 in Boston's favor. Rebounds, Boston had a +4 advantage on that, 47-43. Assists, that went on a one-sided victory, Boston 23-9. Steals, Mavericks had that one 8-6. And the record-breaking blocks tonight, 9 blocks for Boston to Dallas's 1. You heard the Celtics coach mention earlier about turnovers, 14 turnovers to 11. Dallas executed 18 points off those turnovers, which helped them get back in that game in the third quarter. That got the lead down to 8 points in the paint. Dallas had that advantage. Teams pretty much fouled equal the same. And then the largest lead of the night, Boston by 29. Dallas only had a 4-point lead. So some good, some bad. But overall, I think Boston dominated. Just the hiccup that they had was, letting Dallas back in it. But what's your perspective to the stats?
Yeah, I agree about it. Boston pretty much had it controlled all game until that third quarter. I feel like they were a little bit too confident in that 20-point lead, which is never good to be confident, not even in a double-digit lead, which I think if they do that once again, this time it'll fire back on them and they'll lose it. So that's my take on that part for sure. So if they lose another comeback next time, Dallas won't let it slip away.
That's true. We're going to see what happens on Sunday. Because Sunday is game 2 of this best of 7. It'll be Boston. You can see here on ABC. You
At
can also
Boston again, right? At the Marriott.
Yeah, you can tune in here on Sports Talk for.
Is it Boston's house?
Yeah, it's still Boston's house. It's still Boston game 2.
So it's 2-2.
Yeah, so yeah. So that'll be it right there. What's your final thought as far as how overall tonight's game went? You know, did it go to what you wanted? What was missing, or did you like it, or what can it be done to be better?
Just another similar game that's been going on, like similar to the rest of the games in this playoffs. A lot of blowouts, but then teams come back. I was expecting a little bit more competitiveness, but I think that the 20-point lead, 30-point lead was a lot to take in which Dallas can come back. But I feel like once they get into the rhythm, like game 3, game 4, once we get into those games, we'll see a rhythm of how they are, because they're not gonna play every one day off or one day back to back. It's gonna be 2-3 days off, then the next game. 2-3 days off, then the next game. So it's gonna be, let's see how they fit in. How they adjust to that schedule.
Well, my final thought on this is that Dallas right now is getting pushed to the corner. At some point, they're going to have to fight back to get out of that corner. It's just game 1, as Kyrie Irving said. But now game 2, it's a must. You want to at least steal home court from them. You want to go tied at 1 when you go back to Dallas next week for game 3. So I think the important thing here is they have to win game 2. They have to correct the mistakes they did. They're going to have to play better defense. They're going to have to avoid giving up those spaces for them to make those shots. They're just going to have to change their defense to match up, because on paper it looks like they were just dominated. Even though the final score was an 18-point victory, but the bottom line was they went up almost 30 points. And, sometimes it is hard to come back from that. I just don't see them doing it twice or more than that. If they have to play from behind every time, this is going to be a short series, because you're going to be wasting your energy fighting back instead of leading. They only led by 4 points, so that's like a 25-point difference when it comes to victory. So a lot of questions got to be answered. Going on, for game 2. So we'll see about that. So that pretty much wraps it up tonight. Our post-game show for game 1 of the NBA Finals. We're going to be back here on Sunday for game 2 of the NBA Finals. Right now, Boston holds a 1-0 lead. Again, if you missed the live version of the post-game show, we will have it up on our Podbean. It'll be on Spotify and iHeartRadio.
One final prediction. Who you got in the series? How many games? Quick.
Well, right now I'm just gonna have to say Celtics. Celtics in 5.
For sure, I got the Dallas going a Game 7 series. Let's make this NBA Finals exciting. I see a Game 7 series. Let's get it.
Oh, yes. Comment on our Instagram pages. Tell us how far you think this series will go, what they need to do. So, partners, we say good night for the night. Anything you want to say before we go off air?
No, sir. Thank everybody. Support, like, comment. Another day, another podcast.
Indeed, we do want to thank you. And again, before we go, we want to give a congratulations to the class of 2024. I know graduation was held this week and today in many areas, schools, colleges, whatever type of education you accomplished. Congratulations. We want to thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Again, we will be back here on Sunday for game 2. Again, stay tuned, stay connected to us for the latest information. And again, we thank you for watching. We'll see you next time here on Sports Talk.